It's Dina and Melba Pearson, and you're on Legal AF. We're breaking down Bondi's Senate hearing, in particular, the questions around white-collar crime and the non-enforcement thereof. The senator from Hawaii brought this into the discussion, Senator Hirono, asking point blank whether or not lobbyists were having influence on what the DOJ was prosecuting and not prosecuting. Take a listen.
On January 30th of this year, the Trump DOJ's Antitrust Division sued to block the merger of two tech companies. Then a well-connected lobbyist met with your political deputies who overruled the career staff and approved the merger. So there's a settlement on that. And separately, DOJ sued Ticketmaster last year for monopolizing concert tickets and forcing consumers to pay outrageous fees. Ticketmaster has hired the exact same lobbyists who met with senior DOJ political people regarding the merger of the two tech companies. So my question is, Ms. Bondi, have lobbyists met with your political deputies about the Ticketmaster case?
Senator Hirono, as I stated earlier, I am not going to discuss anything that is ongoing. Gail Slater runs the antitrust office.
I would say
and Gail Slater, if I can finish, Gail Slater is doing an incredible job running my antitrust unit.
It's highly likely, Ms. Bondi, that the same lobbyists who met with your people basically got rid of the antitrust case.
Senator, I don't think a lot of people like that you were out protesting with Antifa
right now. Next question.
So there's a very valid question. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We see in that questioning that the fact that lobbyists are having influence on what the DOJ is recommending in terms of mergers and what they're pursuing. But there's also been quite a bit of change in the policy over what to prosecute in terms of just more, let's say, bread and butter, white collar crime. Here we have the DOJ, Trump, ICE going after people who are undocumented, who are showing up at their immigration hearings, trying to do the right thing. They're getting snatched off the street or from the court hearing. You know, we're seeing this in real time. At the same time, but perhaps more quietly, these two DOJ memos have gone out, one by Todd Blanche, the other one by the head of the criminal division, Gaetti. That one is referred to as the Gaetti memo in the legal circles dealing with white collar crime. And they have now changed the policy where they are encouraging corporations, white collar alleged criminals, to self-report and then pay a fine. Now, this is something that would be every alleged criminal's dream, every undocumented person's dream, if they could self-report and get away with it. Because frankly, a fine when you're dealing with white collar crime is the least punishment you can do, because usually that person has either vast access to money or, you know, is wealthy. That is why it's white collar crime. And so paying a fee is kind of like not a punishment at all. It's a dream scenario. A friend of mine is a defender and is seeing in real time white collar crime it's being dissolved. Like it's really not going away. This, of course, is an extension of what happened in his first term. At the end of his first term in 2019, the level of prosecutions around white collar crime was the lowest in 3 decades. Now we're just in 6 months and we're seeing the executive order Trump put out saying stopping the over-criminalization of violations of regulations, and then 2 specific DOJ memos saying specifically, you know, companies are trying to do the right things. Sometimes they make mistakes. I mean, that's the wording is the word mistake. I would think most people who allegedly commit a crime would say it was a mistake. Most people are maybe trying to do the right thing. But that's the presumption that they're being given. This is the job of the Justice Department, is to decide who to prosecute. Frankly, they have discretion, right? They have the discretion already. This is kind of putting a thumb on the scale in favor yet more against them. So what say you, Melba, about this new policy from the DOJ favoring alleged white collar criminals here?
It's on brand, but here's the interesting point, right? Undocumented immigrants self-report, because when they come here and they're asking for asylum or whatever the case may be, they present themselves to immigration authorities. They have to report once a month or whatever the case may be to a handler to be like, hi, I'm still here. I'm still employed. They're coming to court to get status, right? Because that's part of the agreement, that you go to court and you do all of these things. So they've self-reported, but they're not getting the same benefit as those who have deep pockets that can contribute to this administration's re-election campaign, which he shouldn't have a re-election campaign because he can't do a third term, or lining his pockets for when he's out of office. But this is very transactional. This is very like cash rules everything around me. As if you got the money, you can get away with literally murder. And so when we think about some of these large scale white collar investigations, like investigations into big pharma in terms of, were they harming people? Did they have a role in the opioid crisis? Under this administration, it wouldn't have happened. So you think about how so many high profile and wealthy entities were held accountable for their role in destroying whole communities, causing death and destruction through the opioid crisis. Under this administration, that would go unpunished. So that's incredibly dangerous. And then, of course, I have to weigh in on the Attorney General's performance in this hearing, because notice what she did. Not only did she not answer the question, and listen, I'm the first one to say, don't comment on ongoing investigations. Absolutely. But you should probably want to dispel the illusion that there's impropriety going on, especially since Ballard Partners is the lobbyist in all of this. And guess what? Guess who used to work for Ballard Partners? Oh, wait, Pam Bondi. Coincidence? I don't think so. But more pointedly, instead of answering the question and dispelling concerns, she's accusing a sitting senator of being part of Antifa. Now, here's what's dangerous about this, because now the DOJ has declared war on people like Antifa because there's a belief that they're anti-democratic and they want to overthrow this country and all of that. By doing so and placing them on this quote unquote like watch list type of thing, it's a way to demonize and perceive them as other. And then that gives license for them to be able to take aggressive action, much like we're seeing with undocumented immigrants, much like we see in Chicago with, SWAT is basically coming in, snatching children out of their bed under the guise of immigration enforcement / we got to get Tren de Agura, who's not operating in the middle of Chicago. I hate to break it to you. The brothers aren't having that. But be that as it may, that excuse of, they're Antifa, it in their mind justifies aggressive action. So now if you've labeled a sitting U.S. senator as an enemy of the state, what is that going to mean now in terms of, does she have to worry about officers showing up at her house and snatching her out of her bed because she dared to question this administration? I mean, this is a very dangerous, slippery slope. It's very dangerous.
Yes, so dangerous. And it just further divides, the two-tiered system. The big awful bill started out with the biggest wealth transfer in history. And now you have kind of in tandem, this two-tiered criminal justice system, or justice system in general, frankly. I did an article for this on the Legal AF Substack. So if you have not subscribed to our Substack, be sure to do that. And also free subscribe here on the channel if you haven't done that as well. But Public Citizen is tracking a lot of these cases, and they have seen that about 150 cases so far have been dismissed or their settlement reduced. And to your point, white collar crime is not a victimless crime. One of the cases involving the settlement being reduced had to do with an OSHA violation, with safety, workplace safety hazards, unsafe ladders and fall risks. And Trump's DOJ reduced the penalty by 50%. That is a sweetheart deal for a company who may have created an unsafe workplace. Trump does not care about working people in this country. He shows it again and again and again. And this is just yet another example. Another case Public Citizen tracked was where they outright dismissed a case where it involved a company allegedly tricking people into signing up for a road race and then creating an annual subscription. So basically just stealing money, fraudulently stealing money. And this isn't about these cases, being dismissed without evidence, being dismissed without merit. This is about the DOJ deciding not to pursue them, dismissing them. If you have wealth in this country, if you have money in this country, if you're a corporation in this company, you get you get to be seen as doing a mistake. You can line your pockets with your, like Elon Musk, who may earn $1 trillion. And at the same time, we're seeing healthcare gutted because they cannot afford it. So, we're here, Melba and I are here breaking down all of these latest developments. This is one that has been flying under the radar. So we wanted to be sure to call it out. Any last thoughts, Melba, before we close it out?
Again, corporations aren't people. And the fact that people need grace, corporations do not need grace. And so again, this is just another thing to take our eyes off the ball and another way to make sure corporations escape accountability and this administration getting some benefit or lining their pockets. Always remember to follow the money.
Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.